Brother Oscar X Occultic Master Part 6 of Ivory Coast. Former Satanist reveals inside information of Satanism against Christians. I was a high-ranking Satanist, the fifth in Ivory Coast. The purpose of my testimony is that you may know how the enemy operates. He is accelerating the velocity of his operation against humanity. Very often and even today, I can feel the wave of his power and action in the air. I feel in my soul urgency. I have been a Satanist for 21 years and I have caused a lot of damage, so many damages. I regret these destruction and it hurt me. That is why I asked Christian parents to protect their children through prayers so that they will not be initiated in witchcraft, for I was just a child when I got initiated in witchcraft. Though my father and mother were believers, they were blind spiritually. You have the obligation over the children, you have begotten them in the world, you must intercede for your children. I was assigned to destroy children. Therefore you must pray for your children to protect them from enchantment and initiation. Do you really know the spiritual condition of your children? There is blindness and a lack of spiritual vision among God's children. However, the more you spend time in prayer, the Lord will open your understanding and discernment and you will know how the devil enters so that the enemy will not have an advantage on you. One of the tasks we had in churches was to make sure that the spiritual eyes of God's children were shut. We worked so that God's children will remain blinded. They should not see the spirit world. We fought hard against the gift of vision and revelation. Brother, your child may be a witch. Given that you are blind, you will not see it. When an enchanted object comes to your house, you will not feel it. In the past, I used to see Christians wearing belts that were snakes. Actually, we were designing belts that were snakes in the marine kingdom. We were bringing them to shops. Even God's children were buying. Since they are not led by the Spirit of God, they buy these belt snakes in shops. The most expensive shoes in the world are made from human skin. Because of lack of spiritual vision you eat, love and trust those who plot against you in the workplace, school, and church. Intense prayer will cause the scale on your eyes to be removed. There is a real conflict. Wherever there is a Christian, the devil will send his agents. Christians will face opposition and evil will not leave them alone because they are Christians. You must have a prayer life. The war is inevitable. Giving and forgiving. A lifestyle of giving means prayer before God. Brother, we were fighting giving and liberality among God's children. Forgiving means a lot in the spirit world. There is a voice in your offering and giving. The more you give, the more your giving becomes prayer before the Lord. You shall be protected in your property because of your giving. Your offering speaks for you before the Lord. Marriage. The marriage of two spiritual believers is a forbidden law. And it is a satanic law that we were to observe, for we were supposed to prevent true converts and spiritual believers from getting married. For when these two unite in order to pray, it is extremely dangerous. When two people assemble to ask something to God, they will be unstoppable. Thus the devil has ordered us to stop two spiritual believers from coming together in marriage. We work to cause carnal Christians to marry spiritual Christians so that one will be a stumbling block for the other. The weak will be a gateway in order to reach the stronger. Media and football. Brother, TV is one of the weapons of the end time that the enemy has designed. God's children are exposed to all sorts of demons when they watch movies. Whenever you watch war movies, you are exposed to demons of war. When you watch vampires movies, you are exposed to the spirit of witchcraft that may enter your life. When you watch Italian and Brazilian soap operas of love, you're exposed to sensual spirits, for in these movies, people kiss and expose their nakedness. When people watch movies, you are exposed to demons of idolatry, for they constantly worship They're gods in these movies. When you are watching these movies you are participating in the worship of these pagan gods and you shall receive the spirit of witchcraft. Thanks to TV, we caused perdition and destruction. Since I was monitoring God's children, whenever you watch a movie for 2 hours during that lapse of time, I was stealing and consuming your energy. As a result, you lack the strength to pray and read the Bible. Brother, whenever men of God go to watch football at home or public stadium, since I was monitoring them, I would fly in space to monitor their reaction during the game. When God's children sit to watch a football game or any sport, my task was to monitor their emotional state and reaction. Brother, the enemy is monitoring you with precision and detail wherever you go, and wherever you pass. He is in search of lack of vigilance and indiscretion in your lives. When you seek to watch games, I was there to monitor your gesture, your reaction, your excitement of anger and joy. And whenever you shouted to celebrate, I would capture the energy released in the air, which is called ether. Demons capture and feed themselves with these emotions when you release them. Whenever people shout out of frustration or joy, there was a collection of internal infernal energy. When you release anger, I will enter to cause destruction in your life. On the other hand, we must understand that football players are in Freemasonry and they are in contract with demons. When you support and clap for them, you are out of the will of God. How can you claim to be against occultism and support players that are Freemasons and they are in covenant with demons? They are not different from witches and Satanists. Each one of these popular players has demons. God's children must get out of fandom, for the devil is coming. You cannot battle witches and wizards in the church and be a supporter of football players who are Satanists. Whenever a goal is scored in a game, when people shout with all their strength, demons attend football games for the energy. They collect people's internal energy released by the crowds, since football players signed a covenant with demons. When they score goals, the people would scream. As a result, these demons will then collect the energy of the people as a reward. These demons sustain the footballer and the dragon is fed with these internal energies. Whenever a football game is playing, there are always demons assembled to collect energy. And when a believer is watching a football, he will come under surveillance and monitoring to check whether he is going to release emotion of anger or pride and to shoot him with arrows. The 4 elements of the earth and the 12 gates of the earth. Brother, when witches hold meetings, it is mostly done in the physical earth in isolated places, such as cemeteries, forests, and mountains, and water. They also hold meetings in places such as schools. When they gather in these places, as soon as they get together, they will begin to talk to the 4 elements of the earth and take over these elements. They usually say to the ground, "We command you, earth, to be subjected to us." They say to the air, "We command you to be subjected to us." They say to the water, "We command you to be subjected to us." They say to the fire, "We command you to be subjected to us." After taking control of the 4 elements of the earth, they will try to control the 12 gates of the city. I want to inform you that in the spirit world, every town, city, and village has 12 gates. Brother, when you settle in a new city or country, first and foremost, you must command and control the 4 elements of the earth, and you must control the 12 gates of the city. You must control the 4 corners, the square, the perimeter and diameter of your environment. Each of the 4 angles of the square around your perimeter have 3 gates, and 3 gates multiplied by 4 corners of the city and town where you live equal to 12 gates. In Revelation 21:12-14, 12, and had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel, 13 on the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, on the south 3 gates, and on the west 3 gates. 14. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. When the enemy arrives in a place, he will try to control the 4 elements of the earth and the 12 gates of that place. And whenever God's children arrive in a city, when they failed to possess the land, which includes the 4 elements of the earth and the 12 gates of the area, they will not prevail, that the perimeter has been sealed. This is why God's children suffer defeat and change the city. They fail to control the place and they fail to subject everything to their authority, and they end up leaving the city claiming that nothing is working. Yet the Bible says in Joshua 1:3-6, every place that the sole of your foot shall tread on, that have I given to you, as I said to Moses. For from the wilderness and this Lebanon even to the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and to the great sea toward the going down of the sun, shall be your coast. 5. There shall not any man be able to stand before you all the days of your life, as I was with Moses, so I will be with you, I will not fail you, nor forsake you. 6. Be strong and of a good courage, for to this people shall you divide for an inheritance the land, which I swore to their fathers to give them. When an agent of the enemy enters a village or a city, he will quickly deploy 12 demons before each gate of the city or village. Therefore you must increase your strike force in order to dominate the 12 gates of the city. When the enemy is overpowered, he will seek reinforcement and for fortification. The Bible in Ezekiel 48:31-34, and the gates of the city shall be after the names of the tribes of Israel, 3 gates northward, 1 gate of Reuben, 1 gate of Judah, 1 gate of Levi. 32. And at the east side 4,500, and 3 gates, and 1 gate of Joseph, 1 gate of Benjamin, 1 gate of Dan. 33. And at the south side 4,500 measures, and 3 gates, 1 gate of Simeon, 1 gate of Issachar, 1 gate of Zebulun. 34. At the west side 4,500, with their 3 gates, 1 gate of Gad, 1 gate of Asher, 1 gate of Naphtali. World music and Christian music in the spirit world. In the world of Satan, we were working with the music. There is world music and Christian music. In the Ivory Coast, those who are in worldly music are occultists. All the musical celebrities in the Ivory Coast are satanic. For example, the Inaudible is a Satanist. He kills human sacrifices and drink blood. We all remember his song "The Spirits Are Speaking to You." The singer who sang about Suckalila is also a Satanist because Suckalila is a mermaid, a demon. Whoever aspires to a breakthrough in world music would need to resort to occultism, as there is a lot of competition. Unless you resort to occultism, you are not breaking through. Since you have musical talents, you will be sacrificed by your fellow musicians and your star and talent will be stolen. In order to become nationally recognized, you're going to have to offer sacrifices. For all the great celebrities of Ivory Coast are Satanists. One of the national singers who also resorted to occultism went to attend a Luciferian meeting in America, and she came back with woman underwear called string. It was newly released in order to trick women. Basically, the string is cursed. It is an invention of water sirens. Today many women are wearing string, yet it is cursed. This singer who brought string in the Ivory Coast wear many skirts and expose herself. When you hear secular music, the demon who is in covenant with the musical celebrity will show up in your house. There are demons everywhere in the world. When this demon shows up in your house, he will steal your star and he will hand it to the musical celebrity. We used to work to cause children of Christians to play worldly music on their phones and laptops. Whenever these kids play worldly music on the phones and laptops, demons were invited and landed in their homes. Worldly music attract demons in your homes. These demons will steal your grace and stars in order to hand it to the musical celebrity. However, whenever God's children play Christian music, I saw the angel of God connected to the song landing around them. When you hear songs of worship and praise that are inspired, I saw the angel of the Lord coming down. You won't see him, but I used to see him, for I was monitoring God's children. When you wake up in the morning and you play songs of worship and praise, I saw the angel of the Lord descending and cleaning the house from witchcraft activity that occurred in the night while you slept. It is dangerous when a Christian hear inspired Christian music, for the angel connected to the music will come down. On the other hand, whenever you play secular music, a demon will come down in your home. You must always hear songs of worship with the children at home. For whenever children learn to sing songs of worship, it is dangerous in the spirit world. When children sing, even with difficulty, the angel of the Lord descends. We must get the children to learn to sing songs of worship. I know children who had destroyed witches and wizards because of songs of worship. In my village, there was a child that used to sing a popular song of worship every morning when he wake up. Many queens of witchcraft fear to come close to the child. One of them that tried to breach the perimeter of protection of the child was killed. No one could come against the child. I remember I was still a witch back then, but I was powerless against the child, for he was singing everyday songs of worship. Brother, when you build a life for personal praise and worship, the enemy will be crushed and the bondage of your life will fall, for the Lord dwell in the midst of the praise of his people. God's people fail to understand the power of personal praise and worship in daily devotion. We knew that whoever dared to eliminate the child will face death. Therefore, we agreed on a strategy that consisted of causing his parents not to take him to church anymore. Because his parents began to leave him at home when going to church, this child was exposed to worldly music and he was no longer strong, for he began to sing worldly music instead of songs of worship and praise. The demon that manage world music is called Baphomet. He is not a man or a woman. Many artists are attached to this demon. When I was still a Satanist, many celebrities and artists came to see me. They came to seek notoriety and fame. When they came to me, I took them to the river to meet the sea dragon called Dracula. I used to worship this demon. Many people have heard the name of Dracula in the movie. It is the name of the sea dragon that I was serving, for I had a covenant with him. There are also dragons in forests. There are dragons of deserts, dragons of mountains. The biggest dragon is in the second heaven, and the Bible says in Rev 12:3-4, and another sign was seen in the heavens. And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on his heads. 4 and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and cast them onto the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman being about to bear, so that when she bears he might devour her child. These artists were signing a pact with the sea dragon in order to become famous. I remember after conversion, many months after leaving the devil, the sea dragon appeared to me to claim my soul. When he showed up, he said, "You still belong to me, because you have something that belongs to me, which is the link between you and me." When I heard this, I was surprised. I came to understand there was a link that connected me to him, which was supposed to be broken. Quickly I went on to do a week of fasting and prayer in order to break the link. Brother, when a demon is in the body, he won't leave if there is legality. He will hang on. Something that enables him to stay. They are hardhead demons. Whenever these singers needed a great voice, they receive snakes of many heads, which enables them to change their voice while singing. In worldly music, celebrities invite demons in their songs. And demons sing in these songs. I was in a perpetual war against God's children. I was monitoring them and watching them in order to find vulnerability in their lives. The goddess Lilith, the queen Maya, and the siren Semiramis. Last time, I said in order to enter the local church during the service I was enabled to do so when a lady come to church with the so-called lady pants. When a lady comes to church with a wig, I was leaving my body flying in space and entering the wig in order to enter the church. When I dwell in your eyelash, your wig, or the so-called lady pants, even if you call fire, I was not leaving or affected because of the property of the enemy, and I would remain there in the wig. In the end time, the devil has come up with clothes that are exposing the body of a woman. Thus, many women are walking half-naked in the street. The unclean spirit causing women to walk naked is the goddess of immorality. Lilith is a dangerous female demon of the night, who is sexually wanton and who steals babies in the darkness. In this eternal war against God's children, we were using water as a weapon. In order to bewitch water in our city, we were summoning the goddess of water called Semiramis, the descendant of Noah who uses magic dance in order to hypnotize people. She signed a covenant with Satan for immortality. She is serving the devil underwater. Mother's Day. Today in the Church of Christ, pastors are celebrating Mother's Day, yet it is nowhere in the Bible. When we were in battle against God's children, we were entering churches that celebrate Mother's Day, and no angels could stop us. When we enter on that day, we were possessing the ground, the air, and the pulpit, and we were moving freely because no angels were present. This celebration of Mother's Day is dedicated to the Queen of the Sea, the siren Semiramis. The image of the woman and the baby is that of Semiramis with the child, the warrior. This siren existed in the Bible. She was the queen regent of the Assyrian Empire. Her son was a conquering king. Whenever there was battle and conquest, she was practicing witchcraft to enchant the opposing army. In order to enchant the enemy, she was dancing like a belly dancing woman, exposing her belly and bewitching the troops. This woman that was a witch had signed a deal with the devil for immortality. When she died, she was handed control over a part of the ocean. She is the queen of the sea. Human meat. Brother, today most processed meat is not animal meat but human meat. When you eat human meat that you buy in the market, it stays in your body instead of going out. In times of battle against God's children, we were checking in their stomachs whether they have eaten human meat. And in case they had a piece in their stomach, it was a legality that it was enabling us to paralyze their prayer lives. I said that the principality in charge of world food is the goddess Maya, who would scan you in battle to check whether you have human meat in order to have legality to bring down your prayer life. We use this meat to downgrade the prayer life of God's children. We don't want God's children to pray for long hours. The spiritual surveillance infrastructure in logistic of communication. Brother, in the astral world I had cars, planes, and helicopters, and when I take off to travel to the hyperspace and the satanic world, the smoke was coming out of my engine and entering people's houses that were filled with smoke. When people breathe these smoke, they fall sick. Brother, wherever you live on the earth, you must understand there are unseen transport and communication infrastructure. There are logistics of the devil everywhere on the earth. There are powerful and satanic satellites, radars, and cameras filming this world 24 hours. One day I was moving in space, I saw a satellite system of the satanic world in the spirit world. I was curious and I approached this invisible satellite. When I got closer I saw unknown entities who looked like robots. They were actually demons of technology working in satellites of Satan that are controlling this earth. There are communication systems installed everywhere in this world. The witches work a lot with communication infrastructure. the demonic army on the land win the war against Christians. Thanks to communication and advanced systems. In the war of witchcraft against God's children, there is always monitoring and surveillance of Christians. In the astral world of witches, we had advanced phone system of Satan superior to the physical system in the physical world. Very often we call one another on the phone just like people of the earth. Often in witchcraft conflicts, I would call the control tower to ask information about God's children. I would call and say, "Control tower, I want to know the whereabouts of the target in this precise moment." The control tower of surveillance functions like a police or surveillance center. Often they will say to me, "The camera and radar is showing that the targeted Christian you are after went to the market. At this moment he is on the bus in the main boulevard going to the market." When I was informed about the location of a targeted believer, we were rushing to deploy snares and booby traps. We will often put in before you the sellers that are witches so that you would buy from that seller, a servant of Satan. When the control tower informed me that you are in a bus moving, I would try to place a rock before the bus to cause an accident. When I am informed that you went to visit a sister, I would work to influence the sisters so that you would fall in fornication with her. Brother, I am trying to tell you that you are under surveillance and you are monitored by radars, cameras and surveillance systems of the enemy. Whenever you leave your house to go out in the city, there are unseen spirits following you. There are intelligence agents. I mean, there are unclean spirits everywhere, even in the trees. Wherever you see the telecommunication antenna in the city, the devil was also putting our antennas side by side, and whatever phone call and message you sent to your friends and families were copied and recorded in our system. Whenever you make a call, it goes first to the central server of the world of Satan before reaching your interlocutor. It is only true Christians that lead a life of fasting and prayer that cause the system of Satan to crash. When they call for, we could not hear their call and see them in the camera and radar. Everything is monitored to gather intelligence about God's children in order to deploy traps and snares.